So, I'm finally done moving. I'm all unpacked in my new apartment. Not totally unpacked, hence the echo here. There's a lot of empty space. But, of course, one of the first things that gets sent to me after I put my computer together is this. Every once in a while, we PC guys have to deal with articles like this one. You know the type. Oh look, a handful of games that were debatably better on console, therefore PC gaming is not good. And then you look into the examples and they're either really old or really niche or just flat out wrong. I figure with the uptick in awful console ports recently, this argument wouldn't be showing its face for a while, but no, apparently I was wrong. But it's also GameRant, so probably should have expected this. In this day and age, consoles are basically computers. Full stop. No. Consoles, I mean, in the most literal sense. Sure, but outside of the most literal sense, no, they're not computers. They've never been computers. It's like saying a DVD player is a computer. It's not. It's a device designed to do a few things. And a computer can also do those few things. Does this mean they are computers? No, because there are plenty of things that computers can do and plenty of things you can do to computers that a console can't do. Assuming all things are equal, they're not. There is no reason a game should run better on a PS4 or an Xbox One than on a decent PC. Yeah, you would think that, huh? Even if someone prefers using a controller over a mouse and keyboard, Microsoft's recent peripherals take almost no effort to set up on a computer. Okay, but what about Sony? You just said everything is equal, but now you're only saying Xbox and the PC are compatible. It's almost like they're not actually equal. Ultimately, exclusives provide the biggest incentive for picking up a home console. I mean, yeah, I'm with you there. I find it weird that you didn't bring up the Switch, which is the most exclusive dependent console. But even you know that the argument you're making is wrong. That's why you don't want to bring up the Switch into this conversation about how apparently consoles and PCs are equal. Rare as it might be, multi-platform titles that are superior on consoles do exist, especially since not all PC ports are born equal. You keep flip-flopping, and we're only in the second paragraph. We started off saying that consoles are basically computers and that all things are equal. But ever since then, you've been saying how things are not equal. Can you stop? Here are 10 examples of games that are better on consoles than computers. Fan patches will not be taken into consideration as the focus will be on the retail versions. Hey, remember how I was saying there's things on computers you can do that you can't do on consoles? Yeah, fan patches are one of those things. 10. Sports games. I'm going to assume you mean like the AAA, like Madden and FIFA games. But even then, we'll get into this. Unless someone is solely interested in single player or their only console is a Nintendo Switch, oh, there it is, now you remember it, then it is generally advised to prioritize console releases of sports games over their PC counterparts as they tend to have more dedicated and bigger player bases. This is especially the case when it comes to FIFA, which seems to treat the PC version as an afterthought. Well, that's mainly because FIFA players will just hoover up every new game without question. And generally speaking, the PC community tends to be more hesitant towards AAA hype culture. I've said that a few times. Sometimes people get on my case for saying that, but like, it's just true. There's way more games on PC, there's a way bigger community. That guy has a motorcycle. There's way more games on PC, there's a way bigger community on PC, there's way less corporate influence on PC. AAA hype culture isn't nearly as much of a thing. That doesn't mean there aren't sports players on PC. There are plenty of sports players on PC. And that guy has a car. Is my window open? What the fuck? Hang on. Let me see my windows open.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Okay. Yeah, my window was open. Cheaters are also an issue on a PC. While cheating is not so rampant on PC that it becomes impossible to enjoy a fair match, it is basically a non-issue on consoles. Yeah, tell me more about how cheating is a non-issue on consoles. Tell me more about how people always play fair on consoles. Tell me more about how consoles are just a perfect competitive environment. Stop complaining about cheaters on PC. Yes, there are cheaters on PC, but they're just different kinds of cheaters than they are on consoles. Also, I feel the need to point this out, especially with all of the whatever is going on with the Warzone cheating problem right now. I really feel the need to point this out. The amount of cheaters on Warzone is not because of the PC. It's because of the lack of anti-cheat, which is Infinity Ward's fault. People will always try to cheat in games, no matter what. The problem with, and I know I'm getting off topic here, the Warzone cheating problem comes from the fact that Infinity Ward didn't install anti-cheat into their game. And that can be applied to pretty much any game with a cheating problem. Cheating is really, really easy if there's no anti-cheat. And it's one of those things where it's not that there's 5 million cheaters just jumping onto a game. It's the fact that someone will find out, like, hey, this game has no anti-cheat. And then people are like, wait, really? And they'll try it. And that just snowballs. I think that's the biggest misconception about the PC cheating thing. It's not that PC gamers are cheaters. It's that it's just, easier to install aimbots and stuff on PC compared to console. And if the developers don't take the necessary precautions to prevent that, it's the developer's fault, not the PC players. Also, how the fuck do you cheat in FIFA? 9. Fighting games. I feel like right now is a good time to point out that Melee on PC now has more reliable online play than Nintendo's own Smash Ultimate, and that Melee esports are thriving right now while Ultimate esports are a joke. Just thought I'd point that out. A decade ago, console gaming was the only option for anyone looking to play fighting games competitively. Not only did they have more players, but tournaments typically used the console versions. Therefore, it only made sense to practice on the same platform. Outside of Street Fighter, it was also not unusual for fighting franchises to simply skip PC. There's actually a pretty interesting reason for this. It's because fighting games are generally played on either gamepads or controllers, not really keyboard. Fighting games on keyboard, you can do it. It's just not very fun. But then as time went on, and this is why you're saying a decade ago. Note this article is from 2020, and he's using examples from a decade ago. Sounds like someone else we know. But as PC gaming became more and more accessible over the years, and more peripherals became available for the PC, fighting games became also more available on PCs. Nowadays, you can plug pretty much anything you want into a PC to use as a controller. So yeah, fighting games are much more available now. Pretty much every fighting game that comes out is going to be on PC. And fighting games are another genre where there's literally no reason for there not to be crossplay. While the PS4 is the definitive platform for fighters, citation needed? The PC scene has improved considerably in recent years and has become a viable alternative to Sony's system. Why is the PS4 the definitive platform for fighters? One of the biggest fighting games of the last decade has been Killer Instinct, which is exclusive to Xbox and PC. And pretty much every major fighting game to come out in the last decade has been on PC. Street Fighter V, you brought up Street Fighter. Street Fighter V has crossplay between the PS4 and the PC. And like I said, one of the biggest fighting games in esports right now is Melee, which is played on PC. How is the PS4 the definitive platform for fighters? You're just saying things. You're not giving any reasons why. Anyways, number 8. One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. I've literally never heard of this game. Even though things have improved somewhat, Musou Games have a long history of inconsistent PC ports, along with some titles offering little in the way of customizable settings. Games like Samurai Warriors Spirit of Sonata are also poorly optimized. One Piece Pirate Warriors 3 is actually among the better Musou games on PC, however the port holds more in common with the PS3 version than the PS4 release, making it automatically worse than the latter. Well, let me whip out my trusty Google here now that you mention a PS3 release, because gonna be real with you, if this One Piece game came out onto the PS3, I literally don't care what you're saying about it. It's not relevant. Initial release date, March 26th, 2015. Platforms, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Windows, and PS3. It's also worth noting that this game scored on Metacritic a 62 out of 100 on PC, but only a 74 out of 100 on PS4, which is a significant difference, yes, but it's not like this game was a masterpiece. But ultimately, I guess my point is that you're using a game from 2015 that was built for previous generations as an example as to why PC gaming is inferior in 2020. I'm just gonna move on. 7. Tales of Symphonia GameCube. This is going to be a fun video. Despite being ported to the PS3 in 2013 and Windows in 2016, Tales of Symphonia is still at its best on the Nintendo GameCube. Okay, so play it on an emulator. Just play it on an emulator. While the latter offered 60 FPS, the PS3 and Windows ports locked their frame rate at 30. So play the emulated version. I'm going to Google this one too. Tales of Symphonia. Released in 2003. Jesus Christ. So from all the reading that I'm doing here, the game did launch pretty busted on PC. or not busted, but just very shoddy port. But it has since gotten a lot better. I mean, it's sitting with an 8.0 user rating on Metacritic. On Steam, it's sitting at a 9 out of 10. 6. Nier Automata. With a bit of luck and the unofficial FAR mod, it might just be possible to play through Nier Automata on PC. Launching and remaining in a notoriously broken state, Nier Automata would crash frequently, lock players in missions forcing them to reload an earlier save, and came with a myriad of frustrating visual and technical issues. Nier Automata is not perfect on any system, but the PS4 version offers the smoothest and best looking experience right out of the gate. The FAR mod transforms the PC port into something truly special, but the official iteration is a train wreck. I just put my phone down now. I'm just gonna... Nier Automata PC. 9 out of 10 after 47,000 reviews. It's almost like bad PC ports get fixed. Shocker. Now I see why you wanted to disqualify fan mods and fan patches. That kind of breaks your whole narrative here. 5. DMC3 Special Edition. Not just the regular edition, the Special Edition. This is like the one example that I agree with, but it's from like 2003 or something. 2004. I don't remember the year. I cracked my knuckle. Sorry. I'll cut that out of the video. Poor PC ports were a dime a dozen during the late 2000s. And Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition was one of the most notorious cases. Some ports disappoint because they fail to make the best of being on a computer, but Devil May Cry 3 plays noticeably worse on PC than it does the PS2. Due to a lower frame rate, Devil May Cry's fluid gameplay loses a lot of its rhythm and speed. The controls are also terrible, be it with the keyboard or controller. Remap the controls. Yeah, Devil May Cry 3 sucks on PC if you are playing the vanilla version, so don't play the vanilla version, and this isn't a problem. Also play DMC 5, because DMC 5 is excellent. DMC 3 overall is just not a great game. I mean, that's not fair. DMC 3 is a decent game. Mid-tier DMC game. Saints Row 2 and the Third. Double entry. Hoorah! Certain PC ports would be unplayable without dedicated modders who are willing to step up to the plate and fix the issues that never should have been present. Saints Row 2 and Saints Row the Third are great games on consoles, but inconsistent on PC, as their poor optimization means they could work fine on one system, but barely run on another. If nothing else, consoles are generally more predictable, which is why it is better to pick up these two games on those platforms. Whoa. I got an email. I'm gonna speed through this because I gotta go take a poo before we finish the rest of this list. So I responded to a video a while back of a very similar topic here, and I also had a whole segment in that video about DMC3. I'm gonna link that video down in the description if you wanna watch that one, because The Gamer made a pretty much identical themed list to this, and they also used DMC3 as an example, and it was really stupid there. Point being, the game is old. Don't use it as an example now. Also, the fixes that you are demanding are completely available to you through user patches, through official patches, through mods, but you arbitrarily disqualified user-made content and user-made add-ons to games at the beginning of this article so you can make this article happen. It's clickbait. It's stupid. Okay. DMC3 is a bad example. I need to go take a poo. I'll be right back.
6.5 hours later.
We're back. We're back. Okay, number 3. So many Rockstar Games. Rockstar Games create ambitious projects designed to push consoles to their limits. Consequently, their titles are generally built with Sony and Microsoft systems in mind, and it is not unusual for PC players to be left waiting months for a game. Okay, but when we get the game on PC, it is objectively superior. Like, it's not even close. Unfortunately, Rockstar does not have a particularly great track record when it comes to PC ports. LA Noire, Bully, Red Dead Redemption 2, and many of the GTAs have their own issues that can make them infuriating to run on PC, assuming Windows 10 even manages to run them. It would be great if you elaborated on these things. You're not going to do that. LA Noire and Bully, and some of the older GTA games, had issues with the stupid games for Windows Live thing. But the games themselves ran fine. They ran better than the console versions, even. And then Red Dead 2 and GTA 5, how do you even make the argument that they're bad on PC? They're objectively better on PC. Red Dead 2 especially, and GTA 5. GTA 5 has one of the biggest modding communities of any game right now. Oh, but sorry, you said we can't talk about mods. Okay, so we won't talk about mods. Red Dead 2 runs above 30 FPS. GTA 5 runs above 30 FPS. Red Dead 2 and GTA 5 have shorter load times on PC. They have better textures on PC. They have better lighting on PC. You can say that about any of these games. Now I see why you made that little disclaimer at the beginning of the video that you're not going to include fan-created content. Because you know that would just disqualify like half of the list here. But that's one of the best parts of PC gaming. If a game's not working properly, we can work on that. If a game is working properly, we can make it even better. And then even just by default, an average running game on console and an average running game on PC, the PC version is going to run so much better because the hardware actually works. 2. Dark Souls. Following the release of the 2018 remastered version, Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition can no longer be purchased on Steam. Yeah, that was stupid. That was really stupid. From Software, Bandai, whoever is in charge of that was really shady. Please put it back. As PS3 and Xbox 360 physical copies of Dark Souls can still be found, the fantastic action RPG is naturally superior on consoles. Okay, I can definitely still find a physical PC copy of the original Dark Souls. Putting aside From Software's business practices, Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition was also a mess on PC, and frustratingly, its issues were never properly addressed by the publisher. Installing the right mods can turn this shoddy port into the best version of Dark Souls. However, taken on its own, Dark Souls was better on the PS3 and the 360. Okay, about that. This is another one that I acknowledged at great lengths on my previous video on this topic. Again, link in the description. All the issues that you had with Dark Souls were either on par with the consoles or they were completely fixable. Like the frame rate on the PC was at worst on par with the console versions. The graphics were at worst on par with the console versions. So yeah, it's a bad PC port, but that was my whole point like a minute ago. A bad PC port, a lot of the time, is still going to run better than a decent console version. And number 1, we couldn't have an anti-PC list without Arkham Knight. And I'm not even going to entertain this one. I'm not even going to read it. Arkham Knight launched broken. Yes, Arkham Knight was fixed. And Arkham Knight is now infinitely superior on the PC. It's gorgeous on PC. I was thinking about buying it again to play through it again. The frame rates are high, the load screens are short, the textures are amazing, the lighting is and I know you don't like mods, but I don't know why people keep doing this. Like, is it just for clickbait? I figured it out. I figured out why consoles are better than PC. These games from a decade ago. You can still run these games from a decade ago on today's console hardware. Wow. Maybe it's because today's console hardware is super fucking weak and was designed a decade ago. Fucking Jesus Christ. That's not an argument. It's a detriment. By bringing these things up, you're making the console look worse. Especially with that stupid no fan content disclaimer. That's that's a feature. That's a feature of PC gaming. It's like if you were to make a review of console games, but you arbitrarily said, hey, and by the way, before you play this game, you're not allowed to adjust the safe zone or the gamma. You have to keep it where it is. You'd be like, why? It's a feature of the game. No, you can't do it. Can't do it. Jesus, man. Anyways, sorry for the lack of content recently. I've been in the middle of moving. I'm unpacked at my new place, new state. I'm a Colorado boy now. But yeah, no, I'm gonna have to do something about the echo in this room. It's just I'm just in my living room right now, but I have like no furniture. So it's just echoey as fuck. I love it. It's a big place, but I'm gonna have to do something about the sound here. Links to my Twitter and my Twitch in the description. I should be back on Twitch soon. I still need to fix up my internet. My internet here sucks, but I'll figure something out about that. Then I'll be back on Twitch. But my Twitter is active. My donation link is active. My music channel is active. And links in the description to this article and to my previous video on the topic. You guys take care, yeah?